the drummer, stroke keyboard player, the sound of that keyboard has now changed into this two-handed sort of throaty piano, which really adds a lot more body to the song. It sounds great. And obviously he's only got the two hands, so he's loading the sticks at this
Got that
point.
1 foot though.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't have something tied to his eyebrows. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. What's the sense in sharing this one and only life? Ending up just another lost and lonely wife. You count up the years, and they will be filled with tears. Well, not later. First, we have a track to listen to. Andy, what have you got for us today?
Well, in the spirit of regifting each other with bands that we've listened to or acts that we've listened to before, you just gave me PJ Harvey. It was a wonderful experience and a great tune. I'm going to be offering you an artist that we've checked out before on this channel one time. And that band is Half Moon Run. So do you remember live when we went live from the Treehouse with those guys and we did Hotel in Memphis?
Yes. Lovely piano action and so some ladies in the corner playing strings.
Yes, the multi-instrumentalists approach too, with just the three of them. I think the one of them kind of mainly played guitar and sang, but the other one had the drum kit and some keys in front of him, and one went from piano to guitar by the end. So yeah, they're a wildly talented little trio. And I remember you enjoying that track and that
A
performance.
couple of years ago,
Yeah.
I think it was either honorable mentions or number 3 on my list for that year. It
I
was
believe you're
definitely one of the
right.
two.
Yeah, I believe you're right. So I thought, oh shit, well, it worked out then. Maybe this is a long time coming. So I'd like you to check out another live, sort of controlled studio performance situation here over from your side of the pond at BBC Radio 1. And it is their track Call Me in the Afternoon that they're performing there. So please go off, give this a spin and a watch, and come back and let us all know what you've made of it.
Hi, this is Connor from Half Moon Run, and you're watching our session for Hugh Stevens on BBC Radio 1.
Jesus Christ, I was so young.
Stay with me.
Just going to take that back a sec because it kind of looked to me, it must be the angle. Yeah, like the drum was beating the keyboards. It clearly wasn't, but.
You can have it if you don't mind. Some around the other stay with me. And you confuse me with your riddles and your sudden generosity. Call me in the afternoon, even by one, by one. Call me in the afternoon, even by one, by one.
Okay, a lot going on there. Just I'll say something. So yeah, really like the sort of pretty guitar riff that he's doing. It kind of sounds like it gives me the impression of time passing, but maybe in somewhere that's really slow, a dry, dusty room, but it still inescapably keeps going. It just has that sort of yeah. a continuous movement. Then we get some drums. Then your man starts singing. He's got that voice that was really just legion in the sort of early teens, and there was a lot of it around. I do blame, although I do like them, like Fleet Foxes and people like that. That sort of folk revival, indie folk thing that came on. They all sounded like that, and it's just really annoying. And it's a bit affected as well. But he delivered words like generosity, which I remember him doing that in Hotel Memphis. So he got a bit of his style there. He's a bit higher in his range as well. I think I prefer his voice later on, what I heard anyway. But that's really nice. And then we get this double stick action with just the odd tom hit as well. It sounded really nice. Connor, I was doing these ghostly oohs, which sounded really lovely. And then there was obviously multiple voice harmonies going on there, which again give it that sort of indie folk feel until the rest of the music kicked in. And then we get the bass line, left hand of the drummer on the key. So it's all sounding really well put together and interesting.
Price to pay. Call me in the afternoon, even buy one, buy one. Call me in the afternoon, even buy one, buy one.
I have to say, drummer's doing a hell of a lot of work here. His left foot's going crazy. And then there's this nice, deep, sort of resonant piano sound from the keyboards now. He's doing both. I think he was doing both hands there. So your man is coming back on with the stick work there. So it's almost this synchronized movement between the parts. Really nicely done.
Take one if you need it, but you really shouldn't be out there. Slay. Really, 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 really wanna make you feel whole. Take one if you need it, but you really shouldn't get this. Really, 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 really wanna get it to you. Slide under the shop eye and wipe your dirty hands on me. Swallow till you go blind and find a little company. Call me in the afternoon, even buy one. Call me in the afternoon, even buy one. Like to take one if you need it, but you really shouldn't be out there. Slay. Really, 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 really wanna make you feel whole. Like to take one if you need it, but you really shouldn't get this.
Who the hell's that? Hang on a minute. It's the first time I've noticed him. Have I been blind all along? We've got another person now. Wow. Man. When did he appear?
One if you need it, but you really shouldn't be out there. Slay. Really, 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 really wanna make you feel whole. Like to take one if you need it, but you really shouldn't get this. Really, 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 really wanna get it to
I'm just really shocked that suddenly there was another guy in the room. Because I don't know if it's like Craig from Bros, just don't really acknowledge him. Wow. No, sorry, let's get back to the Tuscan Hound, the song. Yeah, lot to like about this. It did sound a lot more youthful than the other song I heard. His vocal register was higher. The only sort of niggles I've got really is I didn't like the tone of his voice there. But that's about it. I just not didn't like it's too strong. It's just I could do without it really. But I really love the way that they're all sort of synchronized, and then those ghostly oohs from Connor's the only name I know from the introduction. They were like working on me more and more as the song went on. It was great, with ghostly, spectral sort of. The drum did a fantastic job, as well as his keyboard work as well. That sort of bass, that left-handed bass line sounded great. And then the sort of big piano sound was really nice as well. It sort of really got a lot of meat to the overall sound. The dual stick worked well as well, and the overall harmonies between the three of them and whoever that other guy was, yeah, really worked well. So overall, I really enjoyed this. It was a nice little song. I only caught smidgens, and there's bits where his vocals dropped, well, kind of isolated, and they really affected his delivery. So it was more of a it wasn't really words. It was more like a sort of adolescent version of the Pub Singer by Vic Reeves. Yeah, you British viewers will know what I mean. So yeah, interesting stuff. So I need to find out when this career and how long previous to the other one this was, how many years. But yeah, really interested to find out some more. So let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right, so you are back from your BBC Radio 1 session, checking out Call Me in the Afternoon. What do you make of it, John?
Yeah, I think it was Maida Vale Studios, which are quite famous. I have some Maida Vale stories, which I perhaps will regale to you another time. Anyway, so yes, we got a nice, polite introduction from Connor, apparently. My first thoughts are, Jesus Christ, they look young. So this is clearly a long time before Hotel of Memphis. So, yeah. So after the intro, Connor kicks things off with this sort of chiming guitar riff. For me, it has that sort of quality, makes me think of time passing inescapably. So this sort of, cyclical thing, but in a very dry and dusty room that invites introspection. Something about the tone of it. Because of the camera angle shot, at first glance, it appears the drummer is playing a gentle drum roll by hitting the frame of the keyboards, but he's not. It is drums. And then in comes the singer, also brandishing some sticks with the future threat of percussion. And then he starts singing. So his voice sounds that quality that was kind of Legion in the early teens, springing from the slightly earlier indie folk indie surge. I mean, Fleet Foxes, I do love you, but sheesh, you're a lot to be responsible for. So that tone is something which I get, is just a lot of it around. It's not to say I dislike it, and I remember his voice being a bit different later on, but this is obviously very early. And then while I'm thinking this, he delivers a line which is generosity. And there's something about that delivery that reminds me of how he was delivering stuff in Hotel in Memphis. So there's a foundation there for his style. As I wrote my notes here, this must be many years prior, because I think since he's gone down an octave. Yeah, that being high up is a young man's game, obviously. The other two join in backing vocals and which again sounds lovely, but it does lend a bit to this sort of folk indie vibe at this point in the song. And we get a line, "Call me in the afternoon, even one by one." We then go into some stick action. He's hitting the rim, the singer mostly, the odd taps on the so it gives that woody sound, stick sound that always makes me think of Tinder. kindling, like dry twigs snapping, ready to ignite at the glance of a flame into a massive blaze. It does always sound really dry, twiggy, that sort of sound, which is what it's supposed to. With an expressive flick, the singer returns to vocal duties, and the drummer adds a left-handed bass line via the keyboard. It sounds excellent, and it really fleshes out the verse sort of melody. It gives like a little garden path for everyone to meander down on top of all the other stuff. Really, really nicely done. And then he's into his multitasking again, so he's given the old cymbals and with his left leg a bashing. All the while, Connor on the guitar is doing a passable impression of a Fela Kuti guitarist. Just stay on that riff, mate. We'll call you if it needs to change. He's just doing the same shit over again. I do say that, he does add some lovely sort of backing vocals with these haunting sort of oohs, which are really nice. So the singer flails his sticks once more because the drummer, stroke keyboard player, the sound of that keyboard has now changed into this two-handed sort of throaty piano, which really adds a lot more body to the song. It sounds great. And obviously he's only got the two hands, so he's loading the sticks at this point.
Got that 1 foot though.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't have something tied to his eyebrows. Connor then gives a few more rising oohs, which just sound delightful, and then we get this short passage of repeated words. Something about take one if you need it, I think, and then really, really wanna something, and some of the reallys are repeated a lot, and some have real rolling R's to the really. We then get this like mini break where it kind of stops down. The echoing oohs off stage sound really great. It's almost ghostly at this point because he's tucked away in the corner.
Yeah.
A couple of full body twitches from the singer indicate that this is a pivotal moment. His delivery here is particularly affected tonally, so I'm not getting the words. What I'm getting really is these variations of vowel sounds. And it kind of reminded me, you won't know this, but there's Big Reeves. He used to do this thing called Pub Singer. And this is like an adolescent version of a pub singer where he used to sing in the style of a pub singer. You had to guess what song it was. And it always just sounded exactly the same. And then they'll say, yeah, that's Venus, or something else, or American Pie or something ridiculous, because it's like drunken pub singer. And this was like an adolescent version of that. There were virtually no consonants in it. It was more like, yeah. Anyway, back to the verse structure again with that really nice bass line again, and then there's more cymbal action, and then we cycle through into the meaty piano sounds once more. And suddenly, for a few fleeting seconds, and it really threw me this, we get a couple, just two glimpses of another person smacking away at the sticks, a fourth body that was not mentioned before or since. Is this the Maid of Ale version of a pitch invasion? Or perhaps it's the equivalent of Craig from Bros, his presence begrudgingly acknowledged once in every blue moon. It's just really weird how you saw him like once for about half a second, then again for about a second and a half, and then nothing before, nothing since. I mean, I guess it's, one of the production guys or whatever, just smacking away. But yeah, really odd. We then get the final lines. I think it could be you, it could be anyone, something. And we get a more concentrated twin stick action right up to the exit, all accompanied by some more spectral vocals from Connor. So yeah, there's lots in this I really liked. I think most of all, I like the way they all synchronized together and the musicianship on display from all three, plus the fourth person. The percussion was great. The backing vocals were great. Those ghostly oohs grew on me throughout, become more and more sort of ethereal. Not so keen on the tone of his voice, but it's something a very sort of tenor penny. But it's something that doesn't spoil it for me at all. I'm not saying that I disliked it. I just I didn't enjoy it like I enjoyed the rest of the stuff. It's
Yeah.
fine. Um, I think I did listening to this. I think I do prefer Hotel in Memphis, the more mature sound, which is not to say this doesn't have merit at all, because it does. I think it's clearly the other one sounds more mature and developed. There's something really nice about this as well, and you can see they've got loads of potential as well that will develop into it. The I've listened to that Hotel Memphis for a year or so, but there's like bits of ELO in there and stuff like that. It's really nice,
Yeah,
touches to
absolutely.
it. So this was a bit more. It did feel like it was a young band sort of song,
Yeah.
which again, there's nothing against it. It's just yeah, they're both really good stuff. And again, I always forget to say this, but this is obviously a live performance. And it was really good as well. So yeah, seeing it evolve in front of your eyes as well. The way they were sort of it's like an intricate sort of set piece on a film set or something, the way things are moving together in that or theatre productions, they're live. So yeah, really well done.
Yeah, the timing and the synchronicity of it all is really fun to watch unfold.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that makes this slightly in this way slightly more impressive than the Hotel in Memphis performance is that it's just the three of them. I mean, you want to count occasional block striking no name guy in there,
Yeah.
so be it. But they had like what a 4 or 5 piece string orchestra with them when they were doing Hotel in Memphis, whereas this is just three guys in the studio. And you sort of like it sounds so good and full, and there's so many different kinds of sounds that
Yeah.
it's hard to believe that it's only three guys generating all of it. So yeah, I'm glad you like this. I would agree with you. Not quite. They weren't quite at the budget where they could afford to do some of the things they would do later in their careers as a band, but you can hear all of it and all the talent and the potential in this song, which is kind of why I chose it. And I'll get into a little bit more on that in a moment. So, as mentioned, we've checked out this band once before on the channel. When I had John check out Hotel in Memphis, which is off of the band's last album, 2003's Salt. We discussed the band at length on that episode. For more information about them and to check out a really good song, go back and give that episode a watch. I'll link it down in the description field below. But a quick recap of the band and its personnel. Half Moon Run is a Canadian indie rock trio based in Montreal, Quebec. The group is known for its heavy use of layered percussion, group vocal harmonies, and for playing multiple instruments during live performances, as we just witnessed. And they consist of multi-instrumentalists, Devin Portlia, Dylan Phillips, and Connor, as he introduced himself, Melander. The band was formed in 2009 in Montreal's Mile End neighborhood by Molander and Phillips, who had both moved to Montreal from Comox, British Columbia. They posted an ad on Craigslist that said that they were looking for a bassist and or a drummer. The ad caught the attention of Devin Portilla, who was originally from Ottawa. Despite not being a bassist or a drummer, he got in touch with the guys in the band and they agreed to let him join. So their debut album, Dark Eyes, on which this track, Call Me in the Afternoon, feature, was released on March 27th of 2012. So 11 years between this is their debut album, 11 years prior to what you heard, the 2023 release of Salt and that track off of it, Hotel in Memphis. So yeah, there's been a lot of growing up, maturing, and changing a little bit of their sound, though it's still obviously, I think, rooted in that indie folk slash rock kind of cloth. It's rooted in that, but you could pick up on the differences if you listen to this song versus Hotel in Memphis, and you obviously have done that and have clued in on it. So the album's second single was Call Me in the Afternoon, which peaked at number 19 on the Canadian rock alternative chart in 2013. In the United States, the album has sold only 12,000 copies as of September 2015. The band also released a song entitled Unofferable on the album's international release in July of 13. Half Moon Run toured Europe, Australia, and North America after the album's release. And continuing throughout 2012 and 13, the band played at numerous music festivals, including South by Southwest, Osheaga, Canadian Music Week, Glastonbury, Way Home Music and Arts Festival, and opened for artists such as Of Monsters and Men, Metric, Patrick Watson, City and Color, and Mumford and Sons. The Metacritic score, based on the critics' feedback, sits at a 70, while its user rating of the album sits at an 81. So there you go. So more of that gulf between the two parties critiquing the album. Over 13 strings, they scored the album a 4.5 out of 5 stars, while Sputnik gave it a 4 out of 5 star review, and both AllMusic and Buzz magazine scored it 3.5 out of 5. Kevin E.G. Perry of The Enemy reviewed the album and wrote, "Dark Eyes remains a quietly stunning debut record that is worthy of much wider attention. With songs this well crafted, it's hard to imagine Half Moon Run not getting it being that wider attention." Writing for Now, which is a Toronto-based periodical, writer Richard Trapunski would offer up the following in his review of the band's debut album. The next big thing in a city full of them, Montreal trio Half Moon Run, aren't likely to see their buzz dry up with the release of their debut album. Often described as the sonic spawn of Radiohead and Fleet Foxes, something we don't disagree with. They prove they can stretch their signature sound across a full LP without losing anything significant. Adding, they layer reverby, gravitas-imbued folk pop harmonies over moody, intricate keyboards, plucked guitar, deftly deployed percussion, and occasional electronic flourishes. They also have an ear for subtlety and dynamics, with arrangements that sound remarkably full for a three-piece, yet never overstuffed. Which I would totally agree with. They're another classic example of three-piece when you hear their stuff. Something else that I wanted to mention, because I saw you sort of smile a little bit or turn your head slightly when the comp of Radiohead meets Fleet Foxes came up. I will say that those two bands and Jeff Buckley were the three comps I've seen over and over and over again for this group, which is interesting, and three acts that I enjoy very much to varying degrees, but all quite positive from my perspective and how I view them. So yeah, interesting stuff. And finally, Anthony Fontano over at The Needle Drop would offer the following of the album upon its release. It is evident right from the beginning of the album that these guys are extremely gifted musicians, and they have tremendous amounts of chemistry with one another. Their tracks definitely feel a bit reminiscent of Grizzly Bear. There's another comp. However, they have more complex grooves and energy under some powerful vocals. The vocals might just be the strongest aspect, as it just lends so much personality to their songs, as well as the lyrics, which have a theme of being a bit twisted in a way that is odd, considering how beautiful some of the harmonies are. Above all, these three guys feel fresh. Any comparison can be made as a relatively small one, and that is always a great thing to see in music. So let's get into these lyrics. You can have it if you don't mind some or all the others stay with me. You confuse me with your riddles and your sudden generosity. Call me in the afternoon, even by one, by one. Call me in the afternoon, even by one, by one. You can have it when you come by. You can have yourself a one-man way. I saw you when I caught your eye, and it's such a petty price to pay. Call me in the afternoon, even by one, by one. Call me in the afternoon, even by one, by one. Well, take one if you need it, but you shouldn't be out this late. Really want to make you feel home. Well, take one if you need it, but you shouldn't get this fucked up. Really want to get to you. Slide another shot by and wipe your dirty hands on me. Swallow till you go blind and find a little company. Call me in the afternoon, even by one by one. Call me in the afternoon, even by one. We'll take one if you need it, but you shouldn't be out this late. Really want to make you feel home. Uh, well, take one if you need it, but you shouldn't get this fucked up. Really want to get it to you. After all, when I listen, it could be you. Could be anyone I want, and I want you. So, while there exists no explicit meaning to the song out there on the interwebs, or at least none yielded in my research for this episode, uh, there are interesting bits and pieces referenced throughout that could lead one to believe the song describes the relationship between a flirty, alcohol-dependent bar patron and a flirty bartender, willing to placate the need in exchange for attention and the possibility of furthering their relationship on another level. I would also say that maybe even not a bartender, but just a fellow patron who's willing to buy this object of their affection drinks. So in the first verse, he reluctantly sells her one drink, but says that it's, or buys her, it could be, but says that it's that all the others stay with me. But then he is surprised and flattered by her showing some interest in him. He ends up giving her his phone number. You can call me, which is the lyric. He says she can call and stop by tomorrow afternoon, and he will buy her another drink. It's a small price for him to pay to see her again. Such a petty price to pay, as the lyric goes. He ends up giving her a second drink, but says she really should be getting home, shouldn't be out this late, is the lyric. He gives her another drink and comments how she's now drunk, fucked up, which is one of the lyrics. He gives her a shot and says to blame it on him, wipe your dirty hands on me. The swallow till you go blind is another reference to the fact that she's drinking alcohol to the point of endangering herself, but he enjoys her company. Basically, the song in the song, he feels guilty about getting her drunk, but it's clearly he's still into her, and it's part of, getting time with her is this whole bar setting where he's buying her drinks or giving her drinks for free in order to get her attention. So
Yeah, but there's also traditionally another reason why a bloke might ply a woman with drink.
yeah,
To lower resistance.
Yes, yeah. Which is a dirtier, seedier way of looking at it. Yes, for sure. But yes, that possibility does exist. And yeah, sure, you can interpret it that way as well.
Yeah.
And it's all, whether it's altruistic, and you're like, oh man, I really do like this girl, I want to get, it all kind of stems from the same thing. There's an attraction there. Now, how the attraction manifests and how you and what you do is obviously important. But yeah, you're right. It could be something far seedier than just wanting to get a girl's attention and calling her after a chance encounter for yet another one. But yeah, interesting song. These guys' fucking harmonies are amazing. You listen to one of them sing and you're like, okay, you probably are the lead singer and have the best voice. And then you hear another one and you're like, oh, wait a minute. These harmonies and this falsetto that you're reaching are amazing and haunting. So yeah, it's just three talented dudes who all found themselves in the Great Wide North and are doing their thing. Still, obviously, I mean, over 10, I guess this year we're coming up on 15 years of these guys being out and about doing their thing, and I look forward to more music by them, and perhaps with this being the first and the Hotel in Memphis and the album Salt being their last, there's a lot to choose from in between. So maybe I'll do just that in the future. So thanks for giving this a go, John. I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well, guys out there in the listening audience, one, if you're a fan of Half Moon Run, please give us an idea for a song that maybe we could give John in the future, and we can add it to our ever-growing list. If you'd like to hear John check out more from these guys. If not, as I alluded to a moment ago, I'll gladly take the reins for a future episode. And honestly, you can feel free to shout anybody down there in the comment field if you want to see us check out a song by them, just list the artist and the song, and if at least one of us hasn't heard it, it will get added to the list for a future Friday episode. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. It goes a long way to help us at the channel. Doesn't cost you but a couple seconds of your time, and we will forever be grateful. And all that out of the way, hopefully John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.